Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Section 214 of BC Lions podcast. I'm your host, Ascent, and I'm here with a full slate of my co-hosts, JS and Hammer.
What's up?
And boy, we've
Hello.
got a lot to talk about today.
Oh my goodness, do
And
we ever?
yes, so much has happened in the week. I mean, for both good reasons and bad reasons. I mean, the good reason is two things. One, the Lions won yesterday, so that's good. That's
hmm
great.
Third
And
straight win.
two, me and Hammer went to First and Now at Guildford Boston Pizza in Surrey
That was
on
a lot of fun.
Tuesday. And of course, the bad thing that I mentioned is the amount of knives out that came out from the CFL fan base and players towards the commissioner for rule changes. And I'm sure, you're probably sick of hearing about it. Right? Some of you might be, some of you are like, oh, we want to hear your thoughts on it, right? But there's also differing opinions on these rule changes, and we'll get to what we think.
Mhm.
Yeah, we
Uh,
will indeed. It should be fiery.
yeah, a little bit later on, but we're going to talk about well, we're going to be talking about our First and Now experience first, and then the rule changes, and then we'll get into the game. So it's like three things, right?
I want to kick things
So
off with that because I want to say I had a great time. It's my first
yes,
time at First and Now. You took me as a birthday gift, so I appreciate that. It was nice to see Riley Pickett and Carl
Carl
Meyer
Meyer.
there. Yeah, it was nice to hear from them, and they had a bingo going. I won the bingo, so
Yeah,
I had two lines there. We were
that's
like,
your turn.
Oh wow, good job. There you
yeah, so
go.
we had two eyes on each of our bingo cards, and
We're
like
listening intently for the words, right?
I got a Lions
And
flag, so soon
Oh,
enough
that
I'll
is
put that.
awesome.
Yeah, I'll put that on my wall sometime. We got some stickers, and also I got free tickets to the game last night. I wasn't able
Can't
to
complain
go.
about that. What a
Yeah, I
nice
wasn't able to
haul.
go, but I gave it to my dad, so he got to see us win. So that was pretty cool. So I would recommend to any Lions fan to come out to First and Now to see me in Ascent because we'll be going to as many as we can. But it was so cool. And it was well, we'll talk about the rule changes later, but they had some things to say about that. So it was interesting to hear that.
yeah, and yeah, I mean, I've been to a few of those myself before, but I think taking you to this one, I'll remember them, I'll remember the most, and then hopefully, once JS gets home to Vancouver, all of us can go to one of these, right? And
Oh,
then
Mhm.
I
that's,
love that.
and then, and then JS can win tickets, right? And it'll be like all three of us will have won tickets to a game, right?
I
Yeah, keep it
did I
going.
did win free tickets once many, many years ago. They did this thing called a ticket window. It was at some pub or something downtown. You just had to go and play the little, what's it called, the Plinko game where you just drop the chips and see which
Yeah.
slot it lands into. And I won four free tickets
Four.
to a game for our family. It was against Toronto, I remember back in the day. So
Damn,
it's a good place to go. And the Moj was there too, I remember.
that's cool.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, so the key is have the Moj present, and then we'll win tickets, right?
yep.
Exactly.
Woj was there. It was a pretty good turnout. I think there was about 15 to 20 Lions fans. They said it
Yeah,
was their biggest turnout of the year. They had a couple of uproar dance team members, some social members. I mean, it was cool, and I think it was very well organized.
yeah,
And it was the players were Myers spent some time talking to fans. I think Pickett had places to be, but he was pretty interesting to hear throughout the interview, and also
mm,
to hear Myers' origin story, starting off playing rugby,
in
uh,
South Africa,
and,
yeah.
and then switching to punting because he just wanted to keep playing the sport. I don't know, it was very interesting.
Yeah, there was also a charger at one point, and that's like a connection in
Hmm,
you as well.
it was.
Uh, yeah, I mean, yeah, I was surprised of how many people showed up. I guess just you know, some of it might be curiosity to hear what they have to say about the world changes, but um, and then the other is probably just hearing them talk about the Calgary win, right? But um, yeah, it was. Yeah, I gotta say, and it was also like the first time you and me have been that far out to Philly, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm only, I've only really been in like the Wally area around the SkyTrain, I think a little bit farther south for orthopedics, but that's about it.
It
Also
was
the Krispy Kreme. So
fun for me as a bus enthusiast, just getting to see different places. And I know that's pretty close to where the Lions practice, so
Did
a
you
bit
take
bit
the did
easier
you
for
take the
them.
R1 bus, the rapid bus to
no,
Guilford?
We had to
No?
take the 320, I think, because it was a little
Oh.
further from Guilford Mall.
Oh, okay, there you
It was a
go.
bit off the beaten path, but it was all right. We had to, and we didn't get home too late either. So
Oh, that's not
I have
bad.
no
no,
complaints, honestly. The people were very nice there. But yeah, I talked to Baker for a bit. Nick Kowalski came up and talked to us. We didn't get a chance to talk to any of the players, but they shook our hands. I mean, it was nice.
There you go. Love
yeah,
it.
no pictures, unfortunately. But yeah, well, they probably have places to be for that.
Mm.
So yeah, hopefully there's like another opportunity we can get pictures for players. But yeah, I I'm happy with what we
Yep.
had for this season at least. So
Other than meeting Rourke, I think that's my first official experience meeting Lions players in an event. So I'll take that. More to come with us.
more to come, yeah. And I was even wearing the t-shirt with our podcast name on it versus
Yeah.
free advertising, right? For
Did you tell any of them about our show?
uh
You told
yeah,
Nick about it.
I told
Oh,
Nick
yeah.
about it. Yeah, I was just like we're just a and he said like we appreciate fan perspectives on the team, right? And that's
Come on the show. Come on the show and interview with us. That'd be fun.
yeah.
One day.
One day.
Yeah. I think we got some good stuff in the works next season as we keep doing this, and also with you coming back to Vancouver. So
Yeah, that'll be good.
yeah, no, I'm excited. Yeah, just generally a lot of
Mhm.
good vibes on Tuesday night, following up a win.
Following up.
Because yeah, we had to talk about good things. I was a little nervous if we didn't win that game last week, and then we won this week. So
Yeah,
A lot
so
of good
three
vibes
straight
on the
wins.
field.
Yes, three straight wins, like good vibes on the field, but then off the field.
My
Uh
goodness.
the stuff,
the
the big stuff.
knives were out for everybody, right? Not just the commissioner, for just the way these changes were announced, and you know, just the lack of consultation with the players and coaches and university football and the like. But yeah, there was knives out for the TSN pundits and the panel, and just people generally associated with TSN and Bell. That they've just been all like
I get,
weirdly.
I guess we should just clarify briefly what these changes are in case people didn't hear about it. I'm reading off the CFL's webpage here, okay, so I'm just going to read the rules one by one and then we can talk about them after. So coming in 2027, so not next season, but the season after, goalposts will be moved to the back of the end zone. Coming in 2027, the end zone will change from 20 yards to 15. And the field itself will go from 110 yards to 100. So that eliminates the 55-yard line. Coming in 2026, so next season, the Rouge will be modified so that it will not be awarded when missed field goals go wide of the goalposts or you have punts or kickoffs that go through the end zones and don't get touched by a returner. So basically, the returner has to field the kick for a point to be awarded. Then coming next year, there'll be an automatic 35-second play clock that begins as soon as the previous play is whistled dead. And I think those are the main ones for now. There's going to be other rule changes that will have to come as a result of that, but those are
Yeah,
the big ones. And
of course,
I guess
the
we can give our initial
benches.
thoughts. The benches will be on different sides, right?
Yeah, opposite sides of the field instead of the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah,
Right.
I do like that one. I will give them credit
Agreed.
for that. Should we give our initial thoughts? Maybe I'll go last because mine are probably the most explosive.
Yeah, I will say this: when it was weird about the timing of the announcement of these rule changes too. It came out on a Monday afternoon when not a whole lot of people were tuning in. Right, like usually something this big should be announced either in the middle of a game or
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely. On like a
like a
Friday Night
recorded
Football
statement.
broadcast. Yeah, exactly. Not at 10 a.m. our time on a Monday.
That would cause way more chaos.
Yeah, they were trying to keep this like as low key as possible, but they didn't expect like the blowback from the fan. But anyways, yeah, Yeah, I will say it was an interesting experience. I mean, like in the moment when we heard those changes, like I didn't, none of us liked it
Yeah,
whatsoever.
that's
But
our stance. We're not too
yep,
pleased
No,
about them in general.
no.
Keep going.
none of us liked it. I mean, and then as time went on, I mean, we're still angry about it. But again, my experience, I said I'm more angry about the lack of player consultation and consultation of university sports than the rule changes really.
Yeah, like
uh,
Nathan Rourke came out this week and stated that players were not consulted, and other people like Mike O'Shea, the head coach of the Blue Bombers, confirmed it that, people who actually play the game were not consulted, and that's just stunning because, when you're going to make fundamental changes like this, you need to be consulting the people who are involved and actually putting the product on the field. Like we were talking before the show that when Major League Baseball made some big changes a few years ago, they were trialed in like minor leagues and a lot of consultation preseason games,
and
all that kind of stuff.
they're doing an automatic ball strike umpire for next year, right? They tried that too.
Or
I
when
mean,
when FIFA and soccer started to bring in the video assistant referee, they trialed it in the lower leagues for a long time before they brought it up to, with the club level. But this, we're just seeing like there was no there was no
trial
indication that they were planning these
unless
changes. There was no soliciting feedback. I'm actually going to read.
unless
I
there's like a hidden Madden game that we're not aware of that has to be doing with the CFL, like
in
that
which
they're
case may we see it, but I'm just reading here from the CFL's FAQ page about these changes, which side note, this page is now buried near the bottom of the CFL website in tiny print,
yep.
which, you wonder about that. But okay, so how did the CFL come to these conclusions? I'm reading from the website directly here. These changes weren't made in a vacuum. Market research, in-depth football analysis, and indirect fan feedback guided the process.
Huh?
What the heck does indirect fan feedback mean?
I guess mining from tweets or Facebook comments or just
But
just
like, if you should ask people, hey, we're thinking of these changes, what do you think? Like when they're planning new bus routes or new swimming pools or new parks, they consult people.
yeah, Trendling does that, right? Bus routes and
Exactly.
stuff like that, right?
They
Like
don't
the
go on Twitter and see what people on Reddit are saying. They actually have a formal process. And like indirect fan feedback is just like, I don't know what on earth that means. And then the next sentence reads, this is going to probably make you explode here. The goal wasn't to fix something broken, it was to make a great product even better.
what?
Ah, yeah.
That that just feels very disingenuous to just like the history of the sport, right? And
Then why are we
it's
trying
just
to fix something that's not broken? That's
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah,
that's.
and
Because
then
I
that was
don't
I
not
think
will
they. I don't think they understood the greater implications of this. I'm gonna like jump to a different thing, but the field changes. Um, Canadian football plays on a standard field, which the CFL plays on.
110 yards.
Yeah. So what does this mean for university sports? Like, were
exactly.
they consulted about this? If they didn't tell the players or the coaches, then did they tell the universities who play on this field? Can they continue to play on CFL fields in the future? Like, I feel like this was widely just miss. Oh,
Yeah,
they didn't
I
even
was also going
understand
to
it.
say like some of the CFL teams even play on university fields as well, right? Like,
The
how's that
Alouettes
going to
do.
affect their relationship, right? Like with McGill in Montreal, for example, right?
Yeah, and
Mhm.
Uh,
some of these stadiums have like permanent markings on the field. So if hypothetically, if the universities don't follow suit and change their rules, are you going to have like two different fields that people have to use? And that's confusing for players developing their careers. Having different rule sets at the college and pro level is not, unprecedented in the US. They have that to some degree, but like it just the lack of consultation and honestly
and preparation.
the lack
Yep.
of forethought given to this was just like stunning. Like I'm another thing they say here is that they project that moving the goalposts to the back end zone is going to lead to 60 more touchdowns each year. I don't know what math they have to like 60 more touchdowns sounds great, right?
I mean, yeah, but we're saying that and we know we're at the moment we're the highest scoring team in the league. I don't think we need any more than that, right? Just
But like the number of
I guess
plays that where the goalposts actually turn out to be an issue is so limited. And what I've always said, like I'll admit that I'm a CFL purist at heart. So any kind of radical change like this, I'm not going to like. But the number of times that the goalposts actually become an issue is
for
pretty
Almost
passing
limited.
game,
never.
yeah, it's rare, and also overblowing the the missed the game winning like missed ruses, like that's overblown, right? Like it
Yeah,
doesn't
it's just
happen that often.
it's just adopting an argument that CFL haters have been using for years and years. I disagree
Yeah,
with seeing it as a rewarding failure, but if you do, fine. But like they just parroting words that CFL haters put on Reddit
and
to
Indirect fan
justify this. Yeah,
feedback.
I've heard this
exactly.
for I've heard it for years, even when I was in my Facebook days as a teenager. Like I heard it for years. It's just like the rouge is weird. It should be going away. Like I hear that and I'm going, no, the unique
And
part of our game, right?
It
and
was the
I
novelty of the CFL. Yeah,
and
and
it's
keep going.
just the the tone of some of the media or like the mainstream media and the rights holders has been very ivory tower, as Ascent described it. The way
Yeah,
I described it is
I
kind of like
described it.
it's like
Yeah,
gives off like a
it's
state media kind of vibe. It's been like the big corporate media has been almost universally supportive of this, which is surprising because they've always framed themselves as, loving the CFL for the tradition and the uniqueness that it
and the fan base, and then they
presented.
just and then like they just turn around and they just make fun of the fan base for reacting so strongly to this, right?
Yeah,
Like what happened after in the half like before the halftime of the Calgary Montreal game, like the panel was making fun of paranoia about this probably possibly going to 4-down football. They were saying like, oh, we'll put like 4 panelists instead of 3, right? And just
but that's one of the fundamental unique parts of the CFL. And we should mention this too. Stewart Johnston, the commissioner, was point blank asked, "Can you guarantee the CFL will never go to 4 downs?" As clear a question as you can be. And his answer, "I cannot guarantee that." And I'm going to law school. I know that they will advise people like this, like he wouldn't be, potentially be sued for something like that, but they will advise you to be careful with your words, and those words were clearly chosen very carefully. And that should have been a simple yes, I guarantee you that will never happen. But he couldn't guarantee it. So I think the paranoia is justified.
just right. And I
Mhm.
think we'll also come out and say, like, if the CFL does end up going to 4-down football, that's the end of our podcast. That's a hard line for us, right? Because it's like, we, but
It's not
we
the
can't be
CFL
in a,
anymore.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the end of the league even.
Yeah,
So
seriously, that would
yeah.
like
It
if
would
they
turn, it
actually
would,
did that, like it would be I'd probably boycott.
these are
Just
not just changes that you make overnight, and it makes me a little disappointed that all the owners unanimously approve them.
wear a
Um,
dome and an L for that one, right?
yeah,
yeah, because he would have been involved in that too. One thing I will have to say, or a couple of things. First off, again, going back to the tone of like everyone being condescending, going back to reading from the CFL FAQ page, quote, "The league has seen rule changes before. Before 1929, throwing the ball forward was illegal. Imagine when the league altered that rule." Like that is
that,
just
that's
so
completely different
patronizing.
circumstances.
what
Yeah,
kind of
that is
logic is that?
patronizing.
It's
Yeah.
it's like what's
Yeah,
the word? It's like a
that's like
red
when
herring. It's like makes
that's like
no sense.
when the league was just like coming up. Well, them and the NFL were just they were figuring the rules out right then, right? It was the creation process, right?
Yeah, like
We're 110 plus years into this, and it's just that's not the same, right?
no, and like evolving is fine, but I guess yeah, I was quite stunned to see that this week, and it just feels like a slippery slope of Americanizing the game. They don't want to call it that, but every single one of these changes moves in the direction of the NFL. There's not one that
Hmm.
doesn't.
Yeah, and
And
I remember the last time the CFL tried to Americanize the game, it was the failed expansion in the mid '90s, and that only
that
lasted
didn't
for
go
like two
well.
years, and a lot of the teams folded, right? And it was only Baltimore that was really good.
All it resulted is one Grey Cup leaving the country,
Yeah, that's,
which
for CFL, for Canadian Football League fan purists, like that's a black mark on the league, right? They're letting Baltimore win a Grey Cup before, right? So, yeah, they should really look to that American expansion, and they should really caution themselves when it comes to like, and especially considering like, especially now with the political climate like it is, with
yeah.
elbows up and everything, right? Like
Hmm.
there's like a grand upswell of Canadian pride, right? And
This could
national,
not have been announced at a worse time. Like,
Yep.
the worst time to announce it. Like if it was done, say 2 years ago, I'm sure there would have been still been backlash, but
but not as intense as you saw
not
now.
as
And
intense as it is now. Yeah.
I think
I
there's a
don't.
very good chance that some of these rule changes will never actually be implemented because of how intense the backlash has been from fans.
Yep.
Like the corporate media has been
Yeah.
pretty well unanimously on side, but ultimately the corporate media don't pay the bills. This is a gate ticket sales driven league, and if the fans start to revolt, there's a good chance they will have to backtrack on some of this.
Some of
I
us,
don't
yeah, but
see how this could attract more fans or players,
um,
especially U.S. players, since there's already a limit to that in the rosters. Um, I
no,
can
it's
tell
more
you
like
for sure that kickers will be affected by this. Sean White jokingly said, "I know he's probably only got 2 years left in his career because of his age,
yeah,
but he said, yeah, I know when I'm retiring now." So along the lines of that in on
And I know
social
when I won't
media.
be needed anymore.
Yeah, okay. And then I could see Pickett and Meyer were visibly unhappy. They weren't asked about this at first, and now they were visibly unhappy about when they were talking about the rule changes. Moj was very unhappy. Well, they
yeah.
were trying to
That's
say it in
one
the
thing.
nice way
Yeah,
as possible,
yeah.
but
I was gonna say like that was the one thing I did appreciate about the first and now guys, is that they actually took the backlash seriously. They didn't like make fun of it. They understood
yeah.
how
Which
touchy we get. Right?
Did
that's
we
from
mention Rourke being
our
unhappy yet?
we touched on a little bit.
Yeah.
I wish we could play the clip, but we can't because of copyright reasons. But basically, he called the changes garbage and said the players weren't consulted. And the thing that I thought was, most incredible what he said is he says, "Oh, this new commissioner evidently doesn't love the CFL as much as I do."
Hmm.
And I thought that
Boy,
was like, wow, what an explosive thing to say.
can you imagine Sidney Crosby saying that to Gary Bettman? That would be like
League shattering.
Literally.
league shadowing. Yeah, that would,
And
jeez.
we found out that Rourke actually had a sit-down conversation with Stewart Johnston,
Yeah,
and he
the other
still
day.
disagrees with him. He's not going to back down. So
So good. That shows he didn't,
Stuck to his guns. Yeah.
he didn't, back down. So good for him. I gained a lot of respect for him too. I probably wouldn't say that the commissioner hates the CFL. I'm gonna make a quote from the Golden Girls. I love that show. I've been watching it on
Uh,
Disney Plus for a while. At one point, one character says to the other, "Your heart's in the right place. I don't know where your brain is." That's how I feel about
uh,
Stewart Johnston with regard to these
yeah,
changes.
yeah. Or
spot
and
on.
also the like the fan backlash. I mean, it was warranted, yes, but I did see that it got like a bit extreme, right? Like there's definitely been probably wishing death upon just that's like
Oh,
overboard, right? That's
yeah.
Obviously, yeah, that's
Well,
overboard. But like
yeah.
yeah.
Never say that.
saying he should be fired, yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've
Yeah,
known I've known his
I
name
only
for
miss
like 6 days, and I'm already calling for him to be fired.
I knew it beforehand, but it was kind of like it was minor news, right? But it's yeah, now like we all know his name now completely just for bad reasons. But and yeah, I'm gonna say like I miss Mark Cohen, right? He was well, yeah, it's been kind of like a steady downhill trend of CFL commissioners from Mark Cohen, but yeah,
I think I
he's
told
done.
you guys this a couple. Oh, sorry, but I think I told you guys this a couple days ago. I officially hate Stewart Johnston. That's also
Yeah.
how I learned who he was. So
Yeah.
just like you, Jacob. So
I won't say I officially hate Stewart Johnston, but again, I just disagree heavily with his hate's a strong word. I just disagree heavily with
yeah,
like his methodology and his communication skills. Like that's
Yeah, just
very
Disingenuous.
You know, it's so remarkable that like we're gonna have to move on so we don't make this episode insanely long, but we've hardly
Yes,
even talked about the substance of the rule changes, which we'll have to save for another episode because the substance of them is interesting enough.
maybe that's for like a bi-week episode, right?
Yeah,
Because that's
exactly.
going to be coming up.
Or an off season or something like that because
Yeah,
there's a lot to unpack there and we couldn't even get to it just because of how terribly it was revealed.
We got to buy
yeah,
in 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks? I
yes,
think so, yeah.
Okay.
yeah, we do. So
Okay,
yeah,
now I can take a deep breath and, calm
Yeah.
down.
deep breath and
Lions
calm
won
down.
yesterday.
They
Let's
did,
talk
so
about
let's
something
focus on some
good.
happy
Yeah,
news.
yeah. Talk about something good. So yeah, they won a tight game, and it was like the complete opposite. I mean, I was able to watch the majority of the game. I wasn't able to watch the opening kickoff because I was, I was taking a shower, so so I kind of missed a little bit of that, just like the last time. But still, yeah, it was definitely the complete opposite of what that Calgary blowout win was. Like it was night and day again. That was, and there was a point in the fourth quarter where all of us thought, "Oh my God, they're gonna blow this again," right? And
Yeah, it was Toronto's last possession because the Lions have a tendency to do that. They lost that game in Ottawa on a last minute touchdown. I had the feeling it was going to happen again, but you know what? I would say this is almost a bigger like moral victory than the Calgary game because you're gonna
mm,
have it's a cliche, they say it all the time, you're gonna have to win close games
I
if
was
you're gonna
I
want to
was
win
gonna
a
say
Grey Cup.
moral victories are for losses, though, aren't they?
True. Okay, there's another word like
Confidence builder or
It's
that's
something.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
Confidence
yeah,
builder. Exactly.
confidence
Because
builder.
they grinded out a close one. You get to the playoffs, it's going to be close games. The Grey Cup is usually pretty close if you make it that far. So, like, you need to be able to face a little adversity and get it done, and they did. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thing. And yeah, the defense, like, well, once again, they kind of shaved off more giving up point totals, but barely by just like 1 point from the last game, right? So they kept that streak going, so they're improving. And I heard Glenn Suter say that, if the BC defense is truly, getting it together at the right time and combined with this offense, they can totally win a Grey Cup with this team, right?
Yeah.
Oh, well, before the game on I think it was the CFL like simulation they do every week. They had the Lions rated as the highest, most likely to win the Grey Cup. Still, it's only like a 30% odds, but
Yeah, please let that be the reality.
the Lions seem to be heating up at a good time. This was their first I'm just looking back at the schedule, the first kind of close game that they won since the August 7th game in Hamilton. Other than that, it's been three fairly blowout-y wins.
And
So
then, well,
and
one classic.
only the third kind of close game win all season, I would say, based on the score. They got the 21-20 win in Montreal in week 5,
Yeah,
and
that was
then
a long
the
time ago.
41-38 over Hamilton in overtime in week 9, and then last night. So that's only 3 out of 8 wins have been close games, which is
Unusual, yeah.
yeah, very unusual.
Every close game we just seem to blow, and that's the tough part because we should have a lot more wins than we do.
Well, it's
It was,
still like over half of our losses have been, you know, collapses, so
yeah.
just
Yeah.
blowout
Imagine if
losses.
they held on to some of those big leads, they'd be like
First in the West.
probably have the West final pretty well wrapped up at this point.
Last
Yes.
game was a bit unusual because our offense wasn't as elite as it normally is. We only scored 27 points, breaking the streak of games that we've scored 30 plus.
That's
Um,
sad, yeah.
Work with a couple of interceptions, but he got it together in the second half. One quote, kind of what you said, Ascent. Like Lynn Suter said, um, the Lions need to improve their defense by 20% to be a Grey Cup contender. And then by the end of the game, he said that 10% came from Matthew Betts, who really saved the game in the end with that strip
Yeah,
sack.
Matthew
He
Betts, my
did.
Well,
goat, my goat. I
8
knew he
sacks
would
in
come
3 games
through, right?
now. Whew.
Yeah, a league leader in sacks. Like, well, I mean, it was briefly not the league leader in sacks because Adeyemi Berglund had a good game against Calgary before that, right? But yeah, and then he's like, I'm not going to be down too long. Yeah, we'll get into that with the statistics for this win because, yeah, as you said, like as I said up off the top, like this game was pretty much like I'd say the defense definitely did most of the winning magic for this one, right?
And
They
good
did.
for them because they haven't for all, you know. We've
Yeah,
been
we're not
calling for
used to
Mike
that.
Benavides' head for a while, and not literally calling for his job. You know the expression "calling for heads." We've been calling for his job for a while,
Yeah,
and he's, you know,
especially after the Ottawa game. Yeah.
I still think, you know, that when his contract expires, you know, let him go, but maybe not before then, because as I learned in my employment law class this week, if you fire somebody early on a fixed term contract, you still need to pay them out. So maybe don't do that right now. But once
Oh,
the
I thought. Oh,
contract,
I thought you were gonna, make reference to that meme about, the miner that walks away just before he gets to like a huge load of diamonds, right? Like, that meme. They're
I
just
do.
oh yeah, well
In what
yeah,
way?
I was thinking about my law school textbook right here, which it says in this book that that's
Nice.
the deal. Very good book, by the way. Interesting reading. But
Yeah.
that's why I say keep him on until his contract expires and then let him walk. That's what I say.
yeah. Even though the defense did play well, there was like moments in this game where I was gonna be like on via Benavides again, right? But yeah, it was just certainly the penalty count was like once again pretty stupidly high, and I didn't like that. Right, but
No,
anyways,
like,
Oh yeah.
was it? I think it was 11 penalties in the game,
11,
and there were a bunch of PI calls in there, which I don't like to see. And a grade, I didn't see it because I was listening. I was working last night, so I
I
listened to
did.
some of it on the radio. A grade 2 roughing the passer, which is 25 yards.
That wasn't grade two up in the passer. I remember that one. That was just a light hit towards Arbuckle, right? And it was called for grade two. That wasn't like I would think grade two would be like intentionally targeting the helmet, right? Or intentionally targeting body parts to injure, right? Harshly,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's not that that's just regular roughing the passer, really. You can make that argument, right? But grade two, no, that's not it.
It's been a
Anyways,
while since I've
yeah,
heard that. Yeah.
yeah, we'll get to that in the recap too, but let's go through the statistics. So, yeah, so Nathan Workey went 16 for 24, 235 yards, and so yeah, that's also another streak that was broken. Doesn't have a 300
For
yard game.
for him, that's pretty pedestrian, and that says a lot about how well he's done this year and how well the offense has done that. 235 yards is not even that bad, but we're like, oh, he
Yeah,
needs
he got
more.
just the one passing touchdown and three interceptions. Uh, which yeah, a lot of that was in the first half. So he got like a lot of struggles out of the way pretty quick, but 10 average per throw, and his longest was 58. That was a dime to I believe it was Hatcher in the third. And Barry Hill was tripping him over on that one, but yeah. He also tacked on 31 rushing yards on 9 carries and also 2 rushing touchdowns. His longest was 10. And it was also a clutch third down conversion that he ran through in the fourth. And he was like super hyped about that one. And I like, yeah, that's the work we know. um yeah, so and now for the running backs, I mean, Horvath went off in the last game, but Butler is back. He's back as a future running back, and he only managed 7 carries for 72 yards, only 72 yards.
That's
uh
pretty good even.
no
Yep.
touchdowns, 10 average per run, which yes, I was stunned. So like an average of 10 per carry, that's pretty good. And yeah, 45-yard run was his longest. He did have break open a big run that time, and then yeah, just only added just a one catch for 6 yards. So if yeah, did most of his damage on the run game, and then yeah, Horvath, I mean, compared to the last game where he went off for like 100+ yards, this was just he was only situational here because he only had 4 carries for 25 yards, no touchdowns, and 13-yard one was his longest, and just the one catch for 7 yards. That was also a key conversion in the fourth quarter. Like that one catch was also a
Yeah.
key one too.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why I
With
had
Nice
to
the
to
put that
see
in
him get
there.
more snaps.
Yeah. And then yeah, receivers. So yeah, Hatcher was our most prolific one, only of well, yeah, 4 catches on 6 targets for 87 yards, no touchdowns, and 22 on average. And his longest catch was he had a 58 bomb that I mentioned. McInnes also had a similar catch total number, also had 4 catches on 6 targets for 78 yards. 1 touchdown, 20 on average, and his longest catch was 30. Billy Hill went 3 for 4 for 26 and 9 of average, and his longest was 13. Croissant went 2 for 2 for 20. And Aberhart, once again, he's very, very limited. He only had the 1 catch on 2 targets for 12 yards.
Man, just saving that for the big moments.
Just saving it for the Calgary game, yeah.
I want to add one more thing. I just wanted to say, touching on first and now, obviously it's nice meeting any Lions player because we don't get to do that very often. But if there's one guy I want to meet on the team, it's Aiden Eberhart, the mean man. He's been so.
The moment we see first and now advertised to Eberhart, I'm like, we're gonna be going to that right now, right?
We are. So do it, BC.
Do it in the Lower Mainland. Don't do it in Kelowna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We'll get to Kelowna in a bit too, but so yeah, offense did their part, but the defense was excellent in this game. 4 sacks, 3 times for Betts, including the strip sack that led to the game-ending drive, and Ane was also the other sack. 1 interception for Finley and 1 fumble and 0 turnover on down. So yeah, that's even more improvement for the defense, which is what we like to see, right? Josh Woods had the 8 tackles. Alway and Lee had 6. Betts had the 5 tackles, and the rest of the team had less than 4. So yeah, prolific amount of tackle numbers from the defense all around, and it's it was pretty good. And then of course special teams, Sean White only had 2 field goals, but he nailed both of them, went 3 for 3 on extra points. So yeah, just a classic Sean White field goal kicking. And of course Meyer, who we met at first and now, like he showed off his boot with a 4 punch that averages 46 yards and longer to 53. So that was really good. And
Good.
but then we'll have to go back to our old stopping grounds with criticizing the kick return game, because
there was not much to be seen there. So back to the old days.
Not even a no yards penalty. Like I've noticed that in the past games there hasn't been like any no yards calls against that helps BC special teams at all, right?
No, it's like been like not a thing for a long time.
Yeah, because I think special teams coverages are more wise to that now, right? I guess. But yeah, McGee only had 5 return catches on special teams, and he had just the 4 punt returns for 44 yards and 1 kickoff return for 26. So he totaled like 70 yards there, and he was averaging 11 yards per punt return, and his longest was 21 yards. So yeah, the punt return that had 21 yards back, that was okay, but everything else was just like very, very limited. And of course, Robert Carter Jr. also tacked on a kickoff return for 20 yards too. So it's tried something different, didn't work.
Nope.
So I guess you guys can do the Toronto stats. I mean, this was I put these in, and I'm surprised, and I do not want to face Hoslow ever again. Because the last game he went off on us pretty badly too, right? The 50+ point game they get, and yeah, I don't want to see this guy again.
Yeah, I'll start things off with the quarterback. Nick Arbuckle went 28 for 38 for 281 yards, touchdown, interception, averaging 7 per throw, longest being 33, and then 1 rushing yard on 1 carry. Thought he was all right. Nothing too flashy.
More yards than Ork.
More, yep.
Yeah, compared to what he was in the Grey Cup, right? That was pretty much the last time he was in BC Place, right?
That
was. They were referencing them to broadcast too, like there's he's got magic in BC Place, but didn't replicate it on this team, right?
I'm trying to remember when his interception was. His interception was right after a BC interception, which I compared to an arm punt because it was that bad. But other than that, he was all right. And on running back, Brown, 8 carries for 13 yards, averaging 2, longest run being 7, so average 1 without that run, and 7 catches on 9 targets for 69 yards, averaging 10, so that's pretty good. McMahon, 3 carries
Matt
for
Vaughn,
14.
yep,
McMahon, I always get his name mixed up.
yep.
3 carries for 14 yards, 5 average. Herslow, as you mentioned, 10 catches for on 11 targets for 104 yards. Yeesh,
I don't
pretty
want to
good.
see this guy ever again.
And then Mattel went 8 for 8 for 83 yards. So those two popped off. The
Longest
rest has
catch for
been
33, yep.
the rest is rather pedestrian. Brissett 1 for 2 for 11 yards. Unger the third.
Unger.
Unger 1 for 2 for 7
Ango.
yards. And then Polk 1 for 6 for 7 yards and a touchdown.
But it was a
Yeah, that
touchdown,
was
so
yeah, made it count. The only touchdown for them of the game.
well, he was 1 for 6 on targets and 1 catch for 6 points. So 1 for 6 another way.
so he pretty much had it like an Abraham-esque game where just
Basically, yeah.
Yeah.
well, but just it's just in terms of a touchdown, right?
The
Yeah,
defense.
so yeah, I'd say
I-
that BC's defense like limited their pretty good receivers on Toronto too. So
Okay, then for the
anyways,
defense, I'll give that a run. There's not much to get excited about here. 1 sack from Casey, 3 interceptions from Franklin Drew, and how do I say
Sluka.
that? Sluka. Okay, there we go. And then he didn't have any fumbles or turnovers on downs. And McManus had 5 tackles. Nobody else had more than 3. And on special teams, Haralaho was perfect on 5 field goals and 1 extra point. On punts, Haggerty had 5 punts, averaging 47. His longest was 51. So good for him. You almost wonder if these new rule changes are going to mean punts are shorter and we don't have as many insane punting stats anymore. But then
Guess we'll find
Grant
out.
Grant had 4 returns on special teams for a total of 49. Wait here, 2 punt returns, and they were. Is that really true? 1 yard between the 2 punt
Yeah.
returns? Wow. Thought that was a typo on your sheet here.
No, it's not a
And
typo. No, I double checked. I triple checked the stats.
wow, there you go.
We limited Grant to 1 yard on a punt return, right?
On 2 punt returns.
Two, right?
And then two
Two
kickoff returns for 48 yards. And averaging 24 yards per kickoff. His longest was 25. And on kickoff returns, sorry. 2 kickoff returns for McMahon for 39 yards. Longest was 22. And then penalties, Toronto had 11 for 134 yards, BC 10 for 119.
Yeah, both teams had very much penalty
Yeah,
trouble.
very penalty for the game. There were multiple drives
was
on
a
both
flag
sides that
fest
were
in the
penalty.
It was a flag fest in the fourth quarter, especially, right?
Yeah, just like both teams took stupid penalties that helped the other team score. And then finally, Toronto won the possession battle 32-02 to 27-58. So another game where the Lions lose the possession battle but get the win because their offense is efficient. And you like to see that. Where,
Yeah, and
not winning the possession battle is not a fatal flaw. So that's a good thing. So let's keep that up.
yeah, it was like really a 4-minute kind of difference, but it was still if the difference was greater, then Toronto would have won this game, right? Because for sure, unless there was a Hail Mary that BC did at the end, but yeah, that never came to be. So
Thank goodness for that.
yeah, so yeah, let's get into the recap. And as I'm looking at the time, we still got a decent amount of time to talk about this, the recap. But yeah, a lot did happen in this game, so we have to go through all of it. I say that I did not, like I said, I did not see Toronto's opening kickoff return, but when I did like get out of the shower to watch the game, and I did see that Toronto failed to convert on 1st and 5. Because there must have been like a penalty, like an offside penalty for BC on that. But it was 1st and 5, but they didn't do anything else. And, they took the early lead with a field goal to go up 3-0. And then there was a moment of silence. And we forgot to mention this before. Might as well mention it here that, our condolences are to Larry Thompson's family. And,
Absolutely.
it's just it's just another crazy thing to happen in this wild week. It's just like an owner passed away and we're wondering, no wonder why he wasn't able to, be available for comment about the rule changes, because yeah, he's was in ill health, right? And yeah, and he just bought the team, like I believe last year, right?
I think
Uh,
so, yeah.
yeah, so yeah, there was a moment of silence for everyone in attendance for that, so that was good. And so yeah, and then after that, the Poisson converts. So on BC's, I assumed it was BC's like next drive, because I think I missed the opening drive, and BC didn't do much on that either. So yeah, on this drive, Poisson converts on a catch on the left side for second out for 10 yards. Then Abraham made his only catch. It was a tough catch on first down to convert for 12. But this was the first of works. Well, this was like the first of two bad work interceptions, right, of the three, because work underthrew a deep ball to McInnes and it got picked off at the 1 yard line, right? So that was even more of an arm punt than the Arbuckle one later on, but uh, yeah, so that's the good news. I mean, they were at the 1 yard line, but the bad news is, yeah, the interception was that was a bad underthrow by work, and and the sadness about that interception didn't last long, because again, then Arbuckle throws it deep too, and it gets picked up by Finlay immediately after that interception. So don't see that very often. We're just back to back interceptions on
compared to Work's underthrow.
yeah. That was, well, Arbuckle's interception was more of like a an inaccurate throw, right? But in terms of like left to right positioning, but the work interception was just not enough air on it. But anyways, yeah, so Finlay picked off Arbuckle immediately after that, so settled the ball at the 42 on Toronto's side of the field. Hatcher converted on a quick out route on second down for 14 yards, and then Hatcher was also in coverage as the ball hit like a defender's back, and it fell incomplete in the end zone. So, that was a TD attempt right there, and that failed. So, Sean White comes out to nail the short field goal. A funny thing that happened was that Mayo actually went in to snap. He was trying to force, trying to go offside, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's an interesting strategy, but it didn't work. um, yeah, so didn't work on the offside, so just took the delay game penalty and kicked the field goal anyway to tie the game at 3. Mattel catches and runs for 40 yards on a second down conversion after the D line failed to pressure Arbuckle. With that converted on set for 11 on a short pass to the right, and then Betts gets called for on that. Yeah, this was like as much as Betts was clutching his game, he was called for unnecessary roughness after he like pushed an it was kind of a bad call, because he pushed like an O lineman, and then the O lineman happened to fall into Arbuckle, and that was what was called, right? So that was more like an accidental bowling pin kind of thing that happened, right? It was,
Yeah, I mean, stuff's
I
gonna
didn't,
happen, so
yeah,
it's
I didn't
not.
agree with that, and neither did Glenn Suter, because um yeah, so that was unfortunately that was like 15-yard penalty for Toronto, oh no, for BC. And then basically after Toronto gets called for procedure on second down, they helped BC limited the damage, because they did get like fairly deep into our territory, but it still wasn't enough, so they basically kicked another field goal to go up 6-3 to end the quarter. So yeah, very low scoring first quarter, at least uh not like the 21-0 that we saw last time, but
Well, not a bad thing. They got to learn to grind out games when you don't take a 21-0 lead right off the hop.
pretty much, yeah. So second quarter, Barry Hill kicked off the quarter with a 12-yard catch on first down on a call out, but then Work gets the second bad interception that Work threw, because it was half a missed assignment by Hatcher, and the other bit of it was just it was a little bit of an overthrow by Rook. So the last one was an underthrow, but this one was a little bit of an overthrow. But yeah, got picked off again, and then Toronto settled it down at midfield. Perslow converts on a first down catch for 13, and then Toronto's called for procedure to get to second and 13 to 41. But then Arbuckle gets sacked by Betts for a loss of 5, and yeah, Betts was making up for that unnecessary roughness penalty that really shouldn't have been called. But yeah, so sack forced him to punt, and then McGee returned the ball to the 18. BC's side of the field, and then Butler took the ball. This was the first down play, like this was the first play of the drive. Took it and ran it 49 yards, and then Rourke gave it to Butler again for 17 more yards, and then here there was a little bit of an inset from TSN that the commentary discussed Nathan Rourke's comments about the rule changes. And then I put like Rod Smith and Glenn should have kind of towed the CFL line, which is not surprising.
No, not a surprise at all.
Yeah, about change being necessary, and then I'm going like, well, sure, change is necessary, but it's got to be, we went through that in our ramp. If you want to watch that, if you're just here for the game, we've got the we've got our rant before. But anyways,
we did.
Yeah, McInnes then makes back-to-back catches for first down, and then caught a touchdown on the inside curl to barely break the plane, and it took the first lead of the game for BC. So I was having difficulty, listening to what the commentary was saying about Brooks' comments, and then also realizing, they scored a touchdown. Yes. So yeah, BC takes the first lead of the game, 10-6, and Ben Grant returns the kickoff to the 41 and then we mentioned before that I said that Kelowna is going to be mentioned here, and I will say this, Kelowna will be getting 2 regular season games next year.
I think that's great.
Be another preseason game for Langford too. So
also great. I would love to go to some of those if possible. That would be awesome. Kelowna's a nice city. Langford is. I've lived in Victoria for a while. I like Langford. Got a cute little stadium there, so those would be nice trips to go to if possible. But either way, the fans in both cities are very fortunate to have that coming to them.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I've been to Kelowna a few times before. I mean, it's been a long time since I've last been to Kelowna, but I'm kind of hoping it would be Kamloops because it's a place I've never been to. So
they should have done one in Kelowna and one in Kamloops. I think that would have made more sense. I guess maybe they're thinking they don't want to relocate the team and build 2 stadiums, but to me, I would be like, use this as an opportunity to travel a bit.
Too,
yeah.
And well.
Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hey, stay tuned. I mean, we might be going to one of those Kelowna games next year. But
I would love to if possible.
Yeah, stay tuned for our off-season episodes if we're gonna talk about that. But that's for down the future. But yeah, Kelowna games next year. Sounds like a lot of fun. It'll be like a mini Empire Field situation, right? Although,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, in the case of Empire Field, that this was in 2011 when they were renovating BC Place and they had like a temporary field, right?
Mm-hmm.
But this is only for 2 weeks, so. Anyways, so yeah, after that's all said and done, Brown converted on a carry for 7 yards for second down. Paladek immediately tackles Brown on a flat route catch for 3 yards to force Toronto to punt. So that was Paladek had a pretty good game too. He made timely tackles to stop Toronto from converting any more yardage. And then this was a funny looking punt because Haggerty basically did like a line drive, wobbly looking punt that McGee McGee had like a poor angle on. He let the ball sail past him.
So it was basically just as good as a regular punt.
Yeah. I thought that was gonna go. It would have been so funny if that went into like the end zone. It would have been like a ruse, right?
Or heaven forbid if the punter gets on it, then it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah,
which has happened before. Look at what
Yeah.
happened to the Seahawks a few weeks ago. Does happen on occasion. So
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that one. I saw that happen. I'm like, oh my God, this is a CFL moment for them.
literally,
So yeah, but yeah, McGee had like a poor angle, but I mean, I kind of like, slagged McGee for that, but nobody expects a punt like that to happen, right? So yeah, it was only fielded at the 12. Hatcher then catches a deep shot and run through the Toronto 40 for 58 yards. This was the one where you had a laugh at Hammer because Barry Hill tripped up Hatcher. It could have been gone for a touchdown, right? But just the
Drift
routes
up.
were crossed. It
Hatcher,
was
but
like Ghostbusters, like don't cross the routes. uh,
the back just like whiffed on that ball as well, so it could have gone into either of their hands, but it was such a mix-up. Made it work in the end. That's how we
yeah,
got going.
yeah, it was still 58-yard pass, so that's pretty good. And then Work comes up with, and then there was like a little interview that TSN did with Work for Frank in another interview. It was revealed in that one that he spoke with the commissioner, and yeah, he's committed to his views, and we mentioned that in our rule change section of the episode. Um, but then after that, after we saw like that little bit of the interview, Work got sacked for a big loss, but White still nails the long field goal to extend the lead to 13-6, which is good. And then on Toronto's ensuing drive, Mattel converts on a short pass on second down to get to midfield. Toronto is called for an illegal block on the face on first down to go back 10 yards. And then Mattel loses 3 yards on a screen pass attempt. Ben Haladic tackles Host low to allow only a few yards to force Toronto to punt. And McGee did return that to the 26th, and then this was like this was a very frustrating moment for us at the time, like, because it was the offense, like there was not a whole lot of time remaining. You could have just like ran the clock down, but instead the offense got greedy. Work throws a deflected interception. Like this interception wasn't on Work. It was another one of those crappy deflected interceptions that I hate seeing. It
yeah,
happens to
not
us
his
a
fault. It's
lot.
just bad luck that went against the team. But you have to be able to overcome the bad luck, and they did. So that's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it was a deflected INT by McInnes, like failed to catch it, and then Sluka caught it and he downed it at the 46. And then, yeah, with little time left, Hau'olahu booted the 50-yard field goal to lessen BC's lead to 13-9. And it really should have been 13-6, right? At
Yeah.
least.
But
But yeah,
fate intervened and basically gifted Toronto 3 points. That's going to happen. And
um,
again, I've said so many times, if you lose because of something stupid like that, it's your fault for letting the game be close enough. But that
yeah,
didn't happen. So that's good.
yeah, same thing with, like, if you miss a field goal and it's the game-winning rouge. I mean, like, you let the team get to that point in the first place, right?
Exactly. So don't complain about bad luck.
Yeah, so yeah, basically, yeah, so that's the first half. So it was a very defensive first half compared to the last game. And yeah, and then I was doing my halftime call of Hammer, and I was like listening to the TSM panel at the same time. And yeah, they didn't talk about much about the rule changes in that one because I think they already really did that in the Calgary game. But um, yeah, I yeah, I mean, I've said that, yeah, back in the rules thing. But anyways, yeah, third quarter, BC. Well, the stats for the first half came out, and I did find it a little funny because I'm old for laughing at this because the BC Lions had 13:37 time of possession after one half, and if you've been on the internet for long enough, you'll know that that stands for elite, right? Uh, it's code for it's internet slang for elite. It's elite time of possession numbers. um. So yeah, pretty pedestrian stats for both teams in the first half, and then Toronto returns the opening kickoff of the second half to the 40. Arbuckle converts on second and inches after Hoslow catches for 9. Hoslow then took well, it was a weird play where center snapped the ball, and then Arbuckle basically did like a volleyball kind of move to bat the ball back towards Hoslow, who's running across in the middle. Like, that was like an interesting looking play design, right? I'm not sure if that was intentional or not, but yeah, Hoslow basically got a first down on that for 11 yards. Brown was tackled for a loss of 2. Hoslow once again converts on a pass for 13 yards when Arbuckle avoided a sack. And then, like, this was pretty much all Hoslow on this drive because he was interfered with on Peters on a very late flag being dropped for pass interference. That was actually upgraded from illegal contact. And yeah, I think Glenn Sudo disagreed with that PI as well, but I can't remember it exactly. But yeah, I did write this down. But anyways, and then even with that controversial PI, it's Arbuckle still threw 2 incompletions, thankfully, and then Hull was sent out to kick the 34-yard field goal to lessen the lead to 13-12. So this was the closest the game like really got, right? It was within a rouge, right? Because and that field goal also barely snuck in. Like, I thought it was gonna miss for a brief second, and it just snuck in through the right side of the uprights, right? So so yeah, and then on BC's ensuing drive, work for incomplete on second down to the left side, looking for Barrio to go 2 and out. Grant is then covered excellently from the special teams coverage. He gets tackled at the 14. I love that. There was like nowhere to go on that run. Brown and catches and
Coverage,
runs for
especially against him.
yeah.
Fans.
Brown catches and runs for 13 yards to get out of the shadow of the goalpost, but BC's defense holds strong as Arbuckle throws incomplete on both downs to force him to punt, and then yeah, McGee runs it back to the 42. And then, oh yeah, I guess there was like a no yards flag because after the commercial, after the commercial, that was after the punt return. It was they did go up a little bit, so I'm pretty sure there was a no yards call on that one, or maybe another penalty, but I didn't get an answer for that. But so yeah, on this drive, basically, yeah, McInnes converts on a second down catch for 17 yards. And then another one for 29 to get into the red zone. So that's with the McInnes aided drive, and then work overthrows Hatcher on second down, but then Drew, the Toronto defender, was called for DPI to get to the 1 yard line. So yeah, easy touchdown run from there for work, and then he basically extended the lead to 20-12. And
which is,
yeah,
feeling good at that point.
feeling really good, and yeah. And then another little factoid here about because there was the sideline reporter was talking about how TJ Lee came back to the BC Lions because he was signed a couple weeks ago. Wally Bono apparently convinced him to do that, right? So it's just been a long time since I've heard that name. I mean, I don't really hear about Wally Bono too much in terms of his day-to-day operations, but yeah, that was again, he's just one of the greatest Lions coaches ever. So like, hey, what better person to convince you to come back than him, right? He's done that a few times in his coaching career, right? So yeah, and then on Toronto's next drive, yeah, Grant returned the kickoff to the 41 of Toronto side of the field. McMahon converted on a short 2 yard run for second down, and then Arbuckle for the quick strike to Mattel to convert for 8 yards at second down again, and then Arbuckle was sacked for a loss of 7 on a major blitz. Like, this was a major blitz. This was like everybody. It was a whole tsunami of humanity from the Lions, and it gets sacked, and that counted as a sack for Betts too. So that was awesome to see. Like, it there, I was expecting a conversion on second and short, and then yeah, just the house came down, and Toronto just did not react to that fast enough, and it was just that was awesome. And just ended up forcing Hau'olau to kick his fourth field goal of the night and the second from 50 yards out to lessen the lead to 20-15. And that was another quarter-ending field goal for Hau'olau, so that's like 2 as well. So yeah, so again, still tight game, still been one possession. We're nervous still. um yeah, so fourth quarter, Rook throws incomplete deep to Berryhill, but then he gets interfered with by Franklin to get to the Toronto 26. Rook runs for 9 yards, and now he's second in Canadian quarterbacks, passing Gary DeTillo on like the old Ottawa Rough Riders team for 10,000 plus passing yards, and it's 14,000 away from West Jackson. So got like 3-4 years to get that number. I think he can do that. Yeah, and then Rook throws incomplete on the left side, but then a roughing the passer call helps BC. So this was like Toronto's penalty troubles kicking in here too. And it was basically a penalty aided drive that helped Rook punch it in to extend the lead to 27-15. And yeah, this came like after an injury timeout too. So for Bucks,
Yeah,
and
that
then
stalled the momentum for a bit, but they still got it in. So
still got it in. Yeah, 2 possession game now, and then at this point in the group chat, I was like, okay, like if we do get the ball back, I need 6 minutes killed of the clock and a field goal, and that should ice the game. But it was Toronto's turn with the ball. Toronto's called for holding on first down after Grant returned the kickoff to the 45, and then Brown only managed 9 yards on a second down catch. And then Dinwiddie, like there was a little bit of a hesitation from the team. Like I thought they were going to be going for it on third down, but just elected to do a surrender punt instead. I call it a surrender punt, but it was like, yeah, they they were down by 2 scores, and they didn't want to be down by 3 and like really ice the game at that point. So yeah, mild surrender punt for that, but yeah. So BC fields that at the 18, and then Butler runs up the middle on first down to convert for 12 yards. Lions are called for holding on first down, which hurts BC because then there was like 2 incompletions on short passes that forced them to punt, and then Mayo launches the punt to the Toronto 44 out of bounds. And Toronto's ensuing drive, Polk bounces the ball backwards, incomplete. It was another like volleyball-esque thing, but it was an incompletion instead of like a straight up run play like it was in a second. But yeah, and oh yeah, this was where the second grade roughing the passer call happened that all of us, including the commentary, disagreed with. Right?
yeah, it was. I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that's a 25-yard penalty, and that's brutal, right? That's and it's funny, like you're the one, you're normally defending the refs here, but that's not hard enough to do that. But yeah, so after that, basically Toronto took advantage of that because Mattel caught to the 10, was negated by the holding call to force Toronto to go back 10 yards. But then after the holding call on Toronto, there was a misconduct on BC that makes Toronto regain that yardage and then goes up 5 more, so for like 15 yards, and then Brown catches and converts to the 1. Procedure call did push Toronto back 5 yards on first down, but it didn't matter because Toronto finished it off anyways because Polk makes his only catch of the game, a touchdown catch, being like a short pass in the end zone to lessen the lead to 27-22 with 5 minutes and 46 to go. And it's we're like red alert, we're in red alert mode, right? Because it's like oh no, we've seen this song and dance before. And it gets worse because well, Carter returned the kickoff this time, but he only got it a third down. And yeah, of course, BC didn't do anything on offense because they went 2 and out because Abe Hart failed to convert and nearly got picked off in the process. So that would have been like an even worse situation for us. But thankfully, BC,
You're able to punt.
able to punt. And yeah, and then we're like, yeah, but we're in full doomer mode at this point. Like, and they're gonna go down the field and score 100%, right? But And it looked that way because, Toronto got decent amount of yardage. Right. Grant returned the punt to 27, and then Toronto's call for a face mask to go back 15 yards. So it was 1st and 25 at that point. And at that point, I was like, okay, like if you let them convert on 1st and 25, you deserve to lose the game. Right.
But
Unfortunately,
they
they did
did. Of course they did. Defense was
because,
not
yeah,
making it easy on themselves.
they do not make it. Yeah, Toronto also called a timeout in 2nd and 14, which with 3 minutes and 13 seconds left. So that's just like before it was 3-minute warning. And yeah, Argo basically makes a conversion passes to Brown on like a check down path, resulting in 14 yards. And this was like after the 3-minute warning. Herslow converted for 7 yards on 2nd and 3, and then this was like the moment in the game where like we were like like our expectations were just completely thrown out the window because Betts finally gets his hands because he got sacks, a bunch of sacks on Arbuckle, but this was the biggest one. He strip sacked Arbuckle when he was coming around the edge. And I thought that I mean I was still so doom pilled that I thought this was gonna be called incomplete, even if it was called a fumble on the call, right? But thankfully it was reviewed and the call stood and there was a
This is a
fumble.
huge play, literally play of the game for Bats.
Play it
Quite.
again. I equated this to the Brandon Graham strip sack on Tom Brady in the Eagles' first Super Bowl win being that big, right? That's
Yeah, I was like, there's no other way to put it. Without that, I think the Lions would have lost.
yeah, the Lions absolutely would have they would have folded, right? And
But
yeah,
somebody stepped up when they needed to.
yeah, and another person that stepped up was Horvath, right? Because just like the last game, but in this game he was clutch because he basically beast moded his way to short of a stick on a 2nd down catch. Right, like it was looking like it was going to be short by 5 yards, but then he got like a lot of extra yardage on that, and that helped Nathan work with the showdown conversion. But it was going to look like that was going to be short, but didn't work. Like he basically took notes from Horvath, and he's pretty much like out and bustled the Toronto defense to get that 1st down, right? And he did an emphatic like this 1st down motion, right? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, screw your comeback, Toronto. uh, and yeah, the commentary was once again, they were talking about the Toronto comeback in the 4th quarter, and we're still going like, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, right? But not today, because yeah, and then Horvath adds on, 13-yard one to convert again on to help convert again on showdown, and yeah, they just basically did victory formation
Like,
at that point to whittle the clock down to 0. And then I put as the Lions survived the collapse scare this time, like, yeah, boy, they survived the collapse. They won a tight game to keep us humble, right? They kept us humble after enjoying that last win so much, right? And they defeated the Argonauts 27-22 to send them to 5-10. So this was also a huge loss for Toronto, and that we pretty much just like what we did with Ottawa, we sent Toronto to like highly unlikely to make the playoffs because yeah, they're at 5-10, and then we get above 500 for the first time since like the first game of the season. To get to 8-7, and we further solidify our playoff position, and it sets up a key matchup for next week's game against Calgary for 2nd place in the West somehow. Somehow. Uh
Just, yeah.
yeah, boy, I didn't think we are gonna be here at this point. Cause you were saying like after the we beat Ottawa, it was like a kind of a distant possibility that we could host. Now it's very much real, right? Like if we beat Calgary, we're in the driver's seat right there because we swept, but then we'll have swept them, right? But getting ahead of
losing
ourselves on that
yesterday
one.
against Montreal. That was big for us.
Yeah, and also, I guess well, now that we're done the recap, I will say that we'll just quickly review last week's games, and then of course the Calgary game yesterday, and then what was the final score of the Winnipeg
It was
Hamilton game?
40-3, I believe. So
Oh
BC's
my God.
so BC is back
Back
down
in
to
fourth place.
fourth, and Winnipeg just completely blew them off.
They do not want us to have happiness
No,
whatsoever.
Winnipeg needed that very badly, and huge win at home for them. Yippee. So
Oh my
happy.
God. I mean, yeah, that was like a much more typical Winnipeg game, but this came up the heels of last week when Strebler was, they were playing Ottawa, and we were rooting for Ottawa to win, but Winnipeg and Strebler won the game on the defense and special teams, and 3 completions by Strebler all game. How do you win with just 3 completions? Right. And we fought like the game last year where Winnipeg was aided by the wind in the Montreal game to win that game to get into like the host of Western Final. But yeah, this was the game that they won last week. That was even worse because it's like no, they're not a normal team in the.
That
They're
week
more of
we
a
looked at the stats and that absolute abomination of a game. It was so funny, just how.
how do you do that? Right, just yeah, and yeah, again, Ottawa is useless and Hamilton is useless. We just cannot rely on Eastern teams very much. I mean, Montreal did help us out yesterday as well, but I will also say that Hamilton also, well, I mean, they weren't completely useless. Like they did beat Edmonton last week on a walk-off field goal. So I mean, it was crazy that they needed that, but yeah, yeah, that keeps Edmonton at bay even more. And I think if another Edmonton loss, because they're playing Saskatchewan pretty soon, so if they lose to Saskatchewan, then that's it for them. Like, they're done. Uh, yeah, and and then of
There was
course,
over.
I thought you were going
What
to say something.
over was what I was going to say. The
Okay.
5 and 10.
Yeah, Ottawa and Toronto are 5 and 10 now. So yeah, they're both far out of it, and Hamilton hopefully soon to. Oh no, Edmonton soon to be too. But anyways, yeah, and then of course Montreal beat Calgary before our game
Big win for BC
30-20.
to give us a chance at the home playoff game because we needed Calgary to drop a game somewhere. And like I'll have to revisit the math on this, but my understanding is BC controls its destiny for a home playoff game because if BC, Winnipeg, and Calgary all ended up tied, as of right now, I think the math should favor BC based on the way the tiebreaker rules break down, but that could change. So either way, huge that Montreal beat Calgary.
Yeah, that's the big thing, and yeah, we want if anything, I mean, we could theoretically even get to first place in the West if Saskatchewan like loses all their games, but
And we win all of ours. So it's highly unlikely, but
we
you never know.
we said it was highly unlikely that we were going to overtake Calgary, and look where we are now, right?
True.
Sky's the limit.
Very, very true.
Yeah, because so Saskatchewan is going to be playing Edmonton right after this recording is done, and I think at this point I wouldn't mind if Edmonton won that, because again I don't feel them overtaking us at this point in the season, right? Like it's going to take
No.
crazy circumstances for them to overtake us at this point. So thankfully, I can I'll be fine with an Edmonton win if that comes to pass, because then it'll help BC chances to host a Western final even, right? But that's
Yep.
like far away from us in a month. But yeah, and then Hamilton versus Toronto. Well, Hamilton lost, and with Montreal winning, so the Eastern final hosting team is still up for grabs for both teams. So I imagine Montreal is probably going to be rooting for Toronto in this one, right? Uh, yeah, and it's Yeah, and then of course, yeah, next week, which is I believe I think that's a Saturday game, isn't it? That's a Saturday game at 4 o'clock.
I believe
I
so, yeah.
got a schedule here. Yeah, Saturday. So yeah, yeah, our next episode will probably be a same day recording. So it's not gonna be a delayed recording like this one, but we
Probably not.
yeah, I'm hoping it's the same day recording, like because then we can if anything happens more within the week, right, we'll be there to talk about it, right, for Saturday. But anyways, yeah, that's yeah, actually, yeah, this Calgary game, like, this is huge, right? Like we can have the chance to sweep Calgary and get over top of them for second place in the West. And yeah, it's just the way Calgary is playing right now. I wouldn't be I won't be surprised if it happens, right? Because it's like, yeah, they've kind of I imagine they're probably like fifth in the power rankings in some publications right now, right? So
Probably, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
actually they haven't been, yeah, they had like a hot start. Now they're kind of like cooling off a bit. It kind of reminds me of when BC went to that 5-1 start last year, and then they cooled off significantly since then. This is what that reminded me of.
Oh, I
So
don't want to be reminded of that.
yeah, and although I do think that well, Vernon Adams is definitely playing very hurt, right? Because he didn't look that great in the Montreal game either, right? I really thought he wasn't going to be playing that game because he was injured in the BC game, right? But yeah, it's kind of a bit of a detriment. I mean, I think it would be better to I mean, yeah, Vernon Adams can still play for a little bit, but once they like clinch a playoff spot, I think like if they clinch a playoff spot, because they can still blow it, right? The way Winnipeg and BC is playing now, right?
I'm
So
pretty sure the scenario will probably say either next week or the week after the Lions will be able to clinch. Like, let me have a quick look here because we're at 8-7, and the team below us is Toronto. Well, because Edmonton, basically, if Edmonton loses today and then Toronto loses their next game, then the Lions will clinch.
okay,
So basically, the Lions clinch with a win next week, essentially.
yeah, win and yeah, so major stuff for next week, and we're excited about that, right?
Absolutely.
We were down in the dumps on them like about 3 weeks ago, and now we're
Now
you
look
know
where we are.
now started from the bottom. Now we're here. uh,
There you
uh,
go.
uh, yeah. So yeah, I mean, expect an episode Saturday, but yeah, uh, it's been a long episode, but I'm glad I'm able to talk about it with you guys because it's very important, right?
Indeed.
And
Thing.
yes,
We'll
so and
see.
of course yeah, we'll see on Saturday, but we're gonna drop our socials. So we have our Blue Sky, we have our Twitter, we have our Instagram accounts in the description box. And like,
Please hit us up
comment,
there.
and
But if
yeah.
that doesn't work, maybe some indirect fan feedback will help us too.
Oh my God. Indirect fan feedback, like oh, I don't know. Like, if I'm on a walk and then like someone walks past me and goes, you should have agreed with the rule changes. Just whisper it to me, right?
Yeah, exactly.
See people talking about this episode. That'll be indirect fan
There you
feedback.
go.
Into it, yeah. Or maybe like our families will just talk about it with us if they decide to.
Either
Anyways,
way,
yeah, like, comment, and subscribe, and follow our socials, and of course, our Gmail account is up if you want to, like, us to type in paragraphs, like we've been talking in paragraphs about this episode. So yeah, we've got a Gmail account at section214 at BC Line. Oh no, section214 at gmail.com. So that's SECTION TWOFOURTEEN @gmail.com. Yeah, so yeah, I guess we'll be seeing you next week. Go Lions.
All right. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.